Hello, my name is Maxine, and I'm one of the trainers at the International College of Professional Celebrants, and I'm also a practicing celebrant. And I am here today with
Rebecca, and I am a trainer and also a practicing celebrant with the ICPC.
So we're going to talk about celebrancy and the fact that you're working on your own, aren't you? And being self-employed can have lots and lots of challenges, and we talk about those on other podcasts. But the one that we're going to talk about is that because you're on your own, you've been working on something really hard. You've got lots of lovely wedding ceremonies lined up, and something might happen that was going to prevent you from doing that. So there are times when you might have a short-term illness. So, for example, God forbid, you might lose your voice.
Oh my word, yes.
Or there might be something that's slightly longer term. So what happens if you get sick as a celebrant? Because that's a real fear for people. What do you do?
Yeah, it's a biggie, isn't it? Because you do, and you put your heart and soul into this work. But at some stage, if you get ill, you've got to hand it over. So for me, and I think what we both tell people, isn't it, don't we, Max, is that you need to create a community, your friends in Celebrancy. So you'll have celebrant friends who you can call on and say, I'm really poorly. Can you help out with this ceremony? I think that is really important. So it's not viewing everybody as competition. It's viewing lots of people as friends, and they will support you when you're sick.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's a great thing of being a member of the ICPC, isn't it? I mean, from the time you start your training, you've immediately got a cohort of celebrants, and then you've got there's celebrants in the bigger ICPC family, and it's important, isn't it, to go out and network and get to know lots of different celebrants. And what are the ways you can do that?
Well, what I've done is I've just made contact with them through Instagram or Facebook, and I've said, should we meet up for a coffee? So just being open to other celebrants in the area will really help you if you are sick.
Absolutely.
That's what you've done in your area as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, there's lots of conversation about how the fact that there are several wedding celebrants in my area, but if you think about it, you can only do 7th of July, for example. So if somebody rings you, it's good to have it's not just about being sick, is it? It's good to have celebrants in your area that you know and trust, that you can pass business on to, and in return they will do that for you at the same time, won't they?
Yeah, they will. It is really important to create those connections and be part of that community.
Yeah, and it is good to be able to make recommendations. So, you know, if you find that you have lost your voice, or if there's something happened and you need to do that, it's really, really good to be able to recommend someone else. And in a lot of cases, you know, if it's a funeral, the funeral director can help you with that. But personally, I'd rather pass that on to somebody that I know will sort of give a really good service to somebody. You only get that by getting to know them personally, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there's more long-term illness and being prepared for that, isn't there?
Yeah, so there is. And I think if you've got if you're suddenly taken ill, then you need to have somebody who knows where everything is.
Yes, absolutely.
So that they can, just kick into action and contact the other celebrants for you. So if you're hospitalized, for example, having that as a backup is it's a bit like a comfort cushion, that landing pad where you think, oh heck, it's all gone wrong and I need to get some help. And then for the longer term, once you've sorted out the short term, for the longer term, you can talk to the other celebrants and make those plans. And if you trust them, you got to know them and you trust them to deliver that service, as you said, then it's a relief. You're not letting anybody down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that trust is really important because, we do work on our own. I've had a really bad cold, and I didn't have any funerals that week, but I thought, you know what, that would be, I probably could just about do it, but it really made me think about it. And then, you know, I've got friends who've become suddenly ill, and you know, celebrant friends who've become ill, and you know, we've had conversations about how we make that work. And then I have said to them that I'd be delighted to cover for you if you're not able to do that, but you've got to make sure that somebody you know or I can have access to that, because if you're 2 days away from a wedding, for example, you're not going to be able to go through the whole process of getting to know the couple and writing the ceremony. So as a sort of celebrant sickness buddy, you need to be able to get your hands on things, don't you?
And that's the importance of the Celebrant script, isn't it? Where you've got all your stage prompts and everything, so that, you know, whoever steps in for you at that last minute can go, okay, I understand how this was actually going to work, the choreography as well. It's important.
Absolutely. And if you've done a good job, any celebrant should be able to pick your script up and actually give that ceremony for you. So I think it's twofold, isn't it? It's about being prepared. So that if you can't do it and you have to hand it over, then whoever you hand it over to can do that. So you haven't left them in the lurch, and really bearing in mind the experience of the couple. And when I'm speaking to couples, I always tell them that, you know, I'm just going to tell you in case I'm sick or something happens, this is what would fall into action. I've got a big network of celebrants, and I think they like that you mention that you've seen that eventuality, because that just makes them feel better, because you are a one-man band, and you know, things absolutely happen. And then I think the second bit is to really network and find people that you trust, because you don't want to throw your ceremony into the hands of somebody who's not aligned with that couple, or that you don't know or you haven't seen that can do a good job.
Absolutely. I think the plan B, you know, is always a good one to have. In my terms and conditions, it does state that if I am ill, I will ensure that another celebrant is there, so they know straight away, my couples, that there is a plan B, and that they will be covered. They're not going to be left there with some relative trying to work their way through my script.
So I guess it is very rare, but overall we would recommend that, you know, if you're thinking about a career in celebrancy, you start to think about your networks. We help facilitate that, don't we? Because we have our Celebrant Connect meetings.
Absolutely.
So we, all over the country, we have either ourselves or we have celebrants that we've trained who organise meetings, and you get to know each other and swap experiences and meet people that you trust. So, you know, that networking's got a real benefit apart from just being a safety net, and it's something that we recommend people do.
Yeah, we do. And isn't it nice when we do that to actually just sit and talk with like-minded people who understand the challenges of celebrancy as well?
Absolutely.
Lovely. Yeah.
So I hope everyone's found that useful and something to think about, and just be prepared, I think, is the thing. But you know, you're not alone as a one-man band. You have got lots of lovely celebrants around you to support. So thank you very much, Rebecca.
Okay, my pleasure.